Hi, I'm Dr. Otto Janke, and I want to thank you today for being with us. We look at the future health of our children, and some extraordinary, just mind-boggling statistics have come out in the Journal of the American Medical Association. The article is titled "Changes in Body Mass Index Among Children and Adolescents During the COVID-19 Pandemic." What they did was they did a BMI. And the BMI is a way to assess how the body is. They compared the body mass index that calculated as the weight in pounds divided by height in inches for youth from the ages of 5 to 17, 2019, and then 2020. The cohort was racially and ethnically diverse, with 49.6 being girls and the rest being boys, and the mean age of 11.6 years. Here is some stark things that they found. Youths gained more weight during COVID-19 pandemic than before the pandemic. Well, you'd think, well, of course they were, because they weren't out around as much. They weren't out playing around as much. They just weren't out. What they found as just absolutely astounding was that for the youngest of the kids, the ones that are from 5 to 11 years old, their overweight or obesity increased among the 5 to 11-year-olds from 36.2%, which is astronomical as it is, to 45.7% during the pandemic. We watched the youngest of the youngs get dramatically unhealthier. What's amazing about this, even more than that, is extraordinarily concerning type 2 diabetes is soaring among Black Hispanic youth. And this is from USA Today. The number of youth younger than 20 living with type 2 diabetes increased by a staggering 95%. And they go on to say that people who develop this disease at a younger age are more at risk for earlier complications than adults who develop it later in life. Since the disease can lead to a multitude of other conditions that threaten health, the longer a person has the disease, the more likely they are to develop other disorders, such as those of the eyes and heart, as said by Elizabeth Selvin, an epidemiologist who specializes in diabetes research. It used to be thought that type 2 diabetes was a disease of adults. And now we're seeing major increases in kids. And this is a disease they're likely to have their whole lives. We're seeing kids, young kids, with the obesity and diabetes. In another article, the impact of obesity and lifestyle on the immune system and susceptibility to infections such as COVID-19. I don't want you to take this as a fat shaming video by any means. This is not my intention by any means. As a kid who grew up wearing husky jeans all this time, I'm well aware of this. But if we saw houses on fire, we sure would go to help and put them out and build the house to be better. In this article, the results were that the relationship between obesity and unfavorable COVID-19 progress is discussed in light of the impact of chronic disease and lifestyle on the immune system. Several modifiable lifestyle factors render us susceptible to viral infections. What they're saying is that our lifestyle makes us more susceptible to the bugs. In this context, we make a case for fostering a healthy lifestyle on a global scale. Well, doesn't that make sense? The conclusion of the article was that obesity, additional chronic disease, and an unhealthy lifestyle interactively impair immune function and increase the risk of severe infectious disease and adverse metabolic and endocrine conditions, which is what we have. The immune system is geared toward inflammation. Now we know that inflammation is literally the basis of the chronic diseases. And then we get into the weight of obesity on the human immune response to vaccination. As our country is diving more and more into, pushing head fast into the vaccinations. Guys, I'm not pro or against. I'm just giving you the articles right now and showing you we have an underlying problem. This is from 2015, from Vaccine, from the journal Vaccine. The weight of obesity on the human immune response to vaccination. Despite the high success of protection against several infectious diseases through effective vaccines, some subpopulations have been observed to respond poorly to vaccines, putting them at an increased risk for vaccine-preventable diseases. Putting them at risk for vaccine-preventable diseases. In particular, the limited data concerning the effect of obesity on vaccine immunogenicity and efficacy. I read an article early in 2020 that said that America had an opportunity to be devastated by coronavirus, not because of the virulence of the bug itself, but because our chronic ill health. Our status of health in America is appalling. And it was, the article stated, it wasn't necessarily how strong the bug was, it was how weak we are. An obesity-related microenvironment promotes emergence of virulent influenza virus strains. Obesity-related microenvironment promotes emergence of virulent influenza virus strains. The importance, they say at the bottom of this article, currently 50% of the adult population worldwide is overweight or obese. In these studies, we demonstrate that obesity not only enhances the severity of influenza infection, but also impacts viral diversity, allows bugs to be better at being bugs. The altered microenvironment associated with obesity supports a more diverse viral quasi-species, variants, mutations, and affords the emergence of potentially pathogenic variants capable of inducing greater disease severity in lean hosts. Again, I don't want this to be a fat shaming or obese shaming video. It's not my focus. It's not my intent. My intent is to say, listen, first of all, we're teaching our kids. We have 5 to 11-year-olds in our school systems who are learning dramatically to be unhealthy. We know that has opportunity. The longer they're like that, the worse off they can be. The opportunity for poor health is dramatically greater for life. We need to turn this boat around immediately, or the ramifications of this virus will be dramatically worse for years and decades to come after the virus is gone or dramatically brought to lower levels. What do we need to do? We need the kids moving every day, exercising, motion every day. You don't want to call it exercise, don't. But they need to be having some kind of motion every single day. If it's great for adults, if it's 150 minutes a week for adults, then we need to have at least that for kids, at least that. We need to be feeding them absolutely rocket fuel. We need to overhaul what we're feeding them. And I know that we have state mandates, but we need to change those for actually make them healthier for kids. And we need kids to give time to de-stress during the day. That might be the exercise, might be, I don't know what it is. I don't have the answers. I'll be more than happy to help you with it though. I'm Dr. Otto Janke. Let's help our kids to be better.